Okay. So, hello everyone. Good afternoon again. Good evening again. Sorry, good evening. In the previous class, we have started the post-fertilization events, right? In the post-fertilization events, I have told you that there are four main changes which are going to take place in the flower. One is that where endosperm will form, and second one is that embryo will form, and the remaining two are what? Remaining two are what? Yes, Nishita, very good. Seed and fruit. Yes, seed and fruit. In today's class, we will see how the seed will form and how the fruit will form. And there are some extra, not the extra one, yes, which are included in your syllabus, but apart from the fertilization and what are all the additional things we need to study, there are only two topics are there. That's it. By that, we are going to end the chapter in today's class. Yes, by today, we are going to end this chapter. And in tomorrow's class, yes, tomorrow I'm not going to take the class. Tomorrow, Yudhishthir sir will take the class, and he'll be starting the new chapter. What is that? Human reproduction. Okay, and from Monday, as usual, I'll continue the class. Okay, only for tomorrow, I'll be on leave, so Yudhishthir sir will take over the class tomorrow. Yeah. See, this question already we have discussed in the previous class, so I'm directly going into the topic, that is a seed from ovule. See, let me draw the ovule first. Yes. See, if this is a ovule, yes, if this is a ovule, somewhat, these are the integuments. Sorry. Okay. Yes. So these are the two integuments in a dicot seed, especially. Okay, and here there is an embryo sac, right? In the middle there is an embryo sac, and inside the embryo sac already two structures have been formed. What are the two structures already formed here? Yes, tell me, what are the two structures already formed here? Tell me, there is an embryo sac inside the embryo sac. See, your batch student does not reply at all in the chat box. I don't know why. Be active, be attentive in the class. This is not an afternoon class, okay? If it is an afternoon class, if you get a sleep, that's okay. But in the evening classes also, you can't be such a lazy, right? You know the answers, but you are so lazy to answer, okay? What are the two structures which are formed inside the embryo sac after the fertilization? Answer now. Yes. Afreen, Aishwarya, Akshata, Anitha, Ankita, Arun Kumar, Bhakti. Are you guys there? Danamma, Gauri, Bhumika, Harsh, Kanakana Gowda, Karan. Yes, only Danamma is answering. Sohel. Yes, I'm not asking you to say yes or no. I am just asking you that what are the two structures which are formed inside the embryo sac? Those are endosperm and embryo, right? So already the endosperm is, embryo is formed here, right? Having a dicot or something by using the endosperm, right? By using the endosperm, already the embryo has been formed with the two cotyledons or with the one cotyledon, right? And the remaining part, what is there around the embryo, is the two integuments. Okay, these two integuments will act as a seed coat. So by this, the finally complete seed will form. Okay, so integuments, yes, integuments, they will form the seed coat. Okay, integuments will form the seed coat, and inside the seed coat, all the cotyledons and all the things, how they will come, I already have explained you in the previous class, right? So if anybody have any doubts, just ask me in the chat box. I can explain you again. Right? This is how the seed, the complete seed will form. And I'll tell you one thing. There are two types of seeds based on the presence and absence of endosperm, which means one is that non-albuminous and another one is the albuminous. See, we know that the embryo along with the ovule, the complete is going to develop as a seed, right? If the embryo use the complete endosperm, if the embryo use the complete endosperm to form a seed or to form a structure, that kind of seed, which means the seed does not contain endosperm at all, that kind of seeds are called as non-albuminous seeds or non-endospermic seeds. Non-albuminous or non-endospermic seeds. You can also call them as ex-albuminous seeds. Okay, and albuminous seeds means where the seed still contains the endosperm. Those are called albuminous seeds or endospermic seeds. Okay, so do you got the point? While formation of a seed or while the formation of embryo, the endosperm will get used up. But in some seeds, what happened? The endosperm, even though it is used up by the embryo, that will be remain in some of the seeds, not all the seeds. In some of the seeds, that will be remain. That is called as endospermic seed because the seed still contains the endosperm, or you can also call that as an albuminous seed. And in some of the seeds, the endosperm completely used up. That is called as a non-endospermic seed because the endosperm is not present in that seed, right? Non-endospermic seed or non-albuminous seed. Understood? Yes or no? Click on yes or no. Types of seeds and how the seed is formed. Only 6 students in the class. Yes, everybody, just everybody click on yes. Everyone should click on yes now. I will see if you don't understand means you can ask me, but you should click on yes. Let me see how many people are active in the class. Only 17 students out of 33. Who all are those 17, 18 students? If anybody can't click on yes, you can say in the chat box. 19 students, okay. Shata, Anita, Suryankita, Bhakti, Danamma. Gauri, Bhumika, where are you? Okay, Harsh, Kanakana Gauda, Kiran, Likita, Meghana A, Mrinali, Raghavendra, Rajesh, Shankar. Okay, okay, Afrin. So these are all the students who are present in the class. Otherwise, the other people just left their mobile. That's it, right? You see. Right. If you have any doubts, just ask me. The seed is going to be formed from the ovule, right? If that seed contains the endosperm in it, still after the formation of seed also, if the endosperm is present, that is what called endospermic seed. If the seed does not contain endosperm, that is called non-endospermic seed. You can also call that as a non-albuminous seed or ex-albuminous seed. Okay, endospermic seed can also called as albuminous seed. So if we take examples for non-albuminous and albuminous in dicot and monocot separately, Yes, in dicots, most of the dicot seeds or most of the dicot plants do produce non-albuminous seeds. Most of the dicot seeds do produce non-albuminous seeds, but the seeds like a castor, they produce albuminous seeds, which means in the castor seeds you can see the endosperm which is still present even after the formation of a seed. Okay, dicot plants, most in the dicot plants, most of the plants do produce the non-endospermic seeds, because in the dicot plants you cannot observe the endosperm. See the structure of dicot seed in the first image. See, there you can see the epicotyle, hypocotyle, radical, plumule, cotyledon, seed coat, everything, but there is no endosperm there, right? There is no endosperm at all in the dicot seeds, but only in the castor-like seeds, they do contain the endosperm. Okay, so castor seeds are the example for the albuminous dicot seeds, whereas the other all are, or like a pea, you can take example of peas, grams. Okay, all those are the examples for the dicot non-endospermic seeds. If we see in the monocots, yes, if you observe the structure of monocot seed, there most of the monocots do contain endosperm, which means most of the seeds of, most of the monocot seeds are albuminous. Most of the monocot seeds are albuminous, which means they do contain the endosperm. Here, if you observe the corn seed image, there the top it is going to have the endosperm, and then all the structures will present, right? Which means most of the monocot seeds do contain the endosperm, but except orchids, whatever may be the pronunciation. See, they are non-albuminous seeds, which means they do not contain endosperm. Okay, so tell me one thing. Yes, this is all the types of types of the seeds. What is the function of the cotyledons in the seed? What is the function of cotyledons in the seed, especially in the dicots? Will take. What is the function of cotyledons in the dicot seed? Yes, Nishita, correct. Is there anyone in the class except Nishita? No one in the class. So much lazy, I don't know why. Whatever. See, if you don't reply at all in the chat box, or if you don't show us some interest, how can the teacher will get the interest, right? If you be active, if you are attentive, if you are enthusiastic in the class, then the teacher will teach you like anything. If student is itself don't have interest, what is the use of taking class? Okay, Pranita, help to supply nutrition. Okay, then okay, see, okay, Akshata, storage, very good. Oh, you always require a push to answer in the chat box. Okay, otherwise, at least you are answering, no, that's good. Okay, out of, sorry, not the out of, yes. See, in the dicot siege, the main purpose of the cotyledons is that storage of food material, because the plumule is giving rise to the shoot, and whereas the radicle is giving rise to the root, right? So the plant at that time does not have a proper things to prepare its own food. That is why the cotyledons, they store the food and they provide the food to the growing plumule and growing radicle. What about in the monocot seeds? Okay, that so far what I have told you is about dicot. If we see in the monocot seeds, yes, the yes, the monocot seeds having something structure like this, and here at the bottom you can see the cotyledon along with the embryo, right? And on the top you can see the aleurone layer, which produces more enzymes, okay, which is made up of protein, and this is made up of starch. This is what? Endosperm. Endosperm. But in the dicot seeds, the cotyledons do store the food material, but not in the monocot seeds. In the monocot seeds, the cotyledon does not store the food material. But what is going to store the food material in the cotyledons? What is going to store the food material in cotyledons? Sorry, in the monocots. In monocots, which part in monocot seed, which part is going to store the food material? Yes, very good. Dhanamma Nishchita, that is endosperm. Right. But what is the function of the cotyledon being present in the monocot seeds? What is the function of cotyledon? What do you think? What is the function of cotyledon? Any idea or no idea? Okay, it's waste of time to ask the questions, I guess, no? Synthesis of GA, don't know. No. What is the function of the cotyledon? Yes, you have answered. No, that's great actually. Yes. The function of cotyledon is that the embryo requires a food, right? The embryo requires food to grow. That food is in the endosperm. So how the embryo gets the food from endosperm is that this cotyledon, which acts as a bridge to to transfer the food from endosperm to the embryo. That is what the function of the cotyledon in the monocot seeds. Okay, understood? Okay, click on yes or no. I can't wait for the messages. Click on yes or no if you understood. Click on yes. If you don't understand, you can click on no. Otherwise, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay. See, this is all about how the seed is going to be formed from the ovule and what are all the types of seeds, albuminous and exalbuminous, or albuminous and non-albuminous seeds, or you can also call it as endospermic and non-endospermic seeds. See, most of the dicot plants are non-endospermic seed because all the embryo is going to be used up by the, all the endosperm is going to be used up by the embryo development. That is why the cotyledons do contain a food material for the growing plant. But in the monocots, most of the plants do contain a endosperm. That is why the cotyledon does not contain the food material. It is waste, right? Already endosperm is present. Then what is a use if the cotyledon again contains the food? Means that is a wastage of food. Okay. Any doubts here? No, Likita, very good. See, you can also see the structure of seeds. Oh, Vikas, very good. Structure of monocot and dicot seeds. In all the seeds, whatever the seed you take, that should contain embryo and that should contain cotyledon. Either in monocotyledons, one cotyledon will be present, and in dicotyledons, two cotyledons will be present. And one more thing, during the drawing of the ovule, I have drawn the two integuments, right? But whereas in the monocot plants, there is only one integument. If you take a ovule in the monocot plants, that ovule contains only one integument. That is why The ovule of a monocot plant is called as a unitegmic ovule. And the ovule of dicot plant is called as a bitegmic ovule because it is containing two integments. Okay. See, now you need to answer me here. Until you don't say answer, I don't write anything on the board. So what are the what do you think? What are all the advantages of the seeds? Do you think is there any advantage of seed or disadvantage or in economical importance? Whatever you feel to say, you can say. You're free to say in the chat box. Akshata gives more protein and energy. Very good, Danama, to continue the genera. Yes. Super, Danama and Akshata. Nishita, very good. Commercial purpose, yes. Any other? Any other answers? Okay, Tilak, to grow new plants. Yes, very good, Tilak. Ankita, seeds are a protective structures. Yes, maybe. Is there anyone in 5 students? Only 5 students. If you are hesitating to say in English, you can say that in your local language, either Hindi or Kannada. Okay, even in Hindi also, I need to do some circus to understand. It's okay. So if you can't say in English, you can say in Kannada or Hindi. That's fine. Absolutely fine. I can understand. Agriculture. Yes. Oh, very good. Seeds are main food for some birds. Yes, Akshata. Seeds are protective structures. Mostly kind of. Okay. Food. Yes. Okay. So first one is that what is the advantage of seeds is that to continue the generation of a plant. To continue. Oh, where I have got this so long answer from Philip. Seeds provide a protective coat so that the embryo plant can develop when it finds a nice piece of soil. Okay, very good, Tilak. And seeds are a protective structure that lets the plant embryo survive in a long period of time before it germinates. Yes, very good, Tilak. So first is that to continue its generation, or to continue the plant generation, the seeds are required. And we can also store the seeds. Or have you heard about seed banks? You can also store the seeds and used as a food, and we can extract oil. So just tell me some seeds, from which of the seeds we can extract the oil. From which seeds we can extract the oil? Any idea? Soybean, sunflower, groundnut, yes. Mustard, yes, very good. Sunflower seed, sunflower, yes. Sunflower, soybean, mustard, castor, yes. Groundnut and olive oil. Olives, from the olives also we can extract the oil. Yes, correct. So yes, we can extract the oil also, and we can use these seeds for a commercial purpose. Commercial purpose, we can also use the seeds for a commercial purpose. And still more advantages where I have forgot to mention. If I forgot to mention, you can just tell me. Why do we store the seeds? Because seeds are important in a human diet. Yes, that's what food that comes under a food, and they're very rich in proteins. They're very much healthy for the diet, right? And why do we store the seeds? Because if we want to study about the plant, at that time, if we just get a seed, if we store a seed, or if we have the stored seed, we can sow that seed, and later we can study about the plant, or we can know the characters, or we can store some of the important plant seeds also, right? This is all about advantages of seed and viability of seeds after a dispersal. So first of all, dispersal means what? Usually we know that in the angiosperms, because we are studying about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants, where the seed will produce along with the fruit, right? So seed dispersal means when the seed comes out from the fruit. When the seed comes out from the fruit, then that is called as a seed dispersal. Okay. And what is the viability of a seed dispersal? After dispersal means after coming out from this fruit, how much time the seed takes to germinate, how much time or how much time period the seed takes to germinate, that is what called a viability of a seed. Okay, so that is what time period. Time period. Right. What are all the factors that affect the viability of a seed? Can you tell me what are all the factors that affect the viability of seed? Answer in the chat box. Season, temperature. Okay, once again, Afrin, this is easy. Okay, once the seed come out from the fruit, then the seed, in how many minutes or in how many hours or in how many days the seed can germinate, or how much time it requires to germinate, that is what called seed viability. Okay, so what do you think, what are all the criteria they are required, or the seed is required? Tell me. Yes, anyone? Season, temperature, only season and temperature. Yes, 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 reply. Do you know or don't know? Type of seed, yes, still correct. And okay, okay, I'll only tell you, see, the time viability always, I mean, the viability of seed after dispersal means it depends in depends on the plant. Okay, time period of seed 7 to 20 days. Yes, that's what Pranita, we cannot restrict, or we cannot restrict to a particular time, because each and every species varies. Each and every species varies, depends on the time. Some species will germinate soon after falling down onto the ground, and some seeds requires what I can say, approximately days, many days, and the lupinus articus, which requires the more, I mean, some years, it requires some years to germinate. It all depends on the some of the external factors like hydration, aeration, wetting, right, and the light, temperature, all these factors which affects the seed viability. Understand? Okay. So here is a question. Aleurone layer take part in protection of delicate embryo. Aleurone layer I have told you already. Enzyme synthesis, transfer of food to cotyledon is also called a scutellum. Yes. Danama correct. Only two persons have answered in this poll. Om, check your answer. Akshata, you also check your answer. Only 16% of voting I can see. Why? Meghana, check your answer. I told you already about Aleurone layer, but you didn't heard me properly, I guess. See, I'll give you 2 minutes. Let everyone answer in the poll. No Harsh. Tilak, yes. Yes, Harsh, now you are correct. No afraid. Where are the other people? 13 students only. Meghana, no. Or Raghavendra, correct. Kiran, no. Okay, I'm ending the poll and no worry. See, the results are like this. 31% of the people have chosen option A, 50% of the people have chosen option B, 13% of the people have chosen option C, and 6% of the people have chosen option D. And I'm stop sharing the results. See, I have already told you if this is the seed, that monocot seed, here you can have the embryo, and here is the aleurone layer. This is the aleurone layer, which is having the protein. What is the use of this aleurone layer, or in which function it is going to take part is that enzyme synthesis. Okay, in the enzyme synthesis, it is going to take part. Now, fruit from the ovary, and we all know already how, I mean, from where the fruit is going to form, because in the last class I have already told you, right, regarding this. So we have seen that if this is the ovary, and on the top of this style, stigma and all, here the ovule is present, and inside the ovule embryo is present. So we have already studied how the embryo is going to develop and gives a cotyledons and the embryonal axis, plumule, radicle and all, and how the seed is going to develop. Now we will study the what happened to this outer part. Okay, first the ovary develops into fruit, and the formation of the ovule into the seed and ovary into the fruit proceeds simultaneously. Okay, it is going to proceed simultaneously, which means soon after the formation, soon after when the ovule starts to synthesize, ovule starts to develop as a seed, at the same time, the ovary will also starts to develop as a fruit. And the wall of the ovary, see, this is the outer wall of the ovary, that is going to develop as a fruit wall, that is going to develop as fruit wall, or you can also call this as a pericarp. And you can see like a fruits like a mango, orange, guava. There you can observe that. Just take an example of mango. You can peel the fruit wall, right? You can peel the fruit wall, and inside the fruit wall, all the pulpy structure is there. And inside to that pulpy structure, you can see the seed, which means the fruit is a fleshy fruit. Regarding the fleshy fruits and all, we have discussed in the 11th syllabus already. Or dry fruits also there. If you take a groundnut or mustard, you can just peel out the extra layer. I mean, you can just peel out the fruit wall. After that, inside that there is no fleshy thing. You can just see the seed, right? This is what called dry fruits. Veenashri, can turn off your video. Okay, right. This is about how the fruit is going to develop from the ovary. Okay, see, there are two types of fruits. Usually we know that. Let me draw. See, here is a thalamus, and on the top of thalamus, the ovary and ovule and all the structures will be there, right? This is an ovule. So this, from this ovary, the fruit or the edible part is going to be formed. That is what called a true fruit. In this, the fruit develops only from the ovary. This type of fruits are called as a true fruit. What about the false fruits, which means the edible part is not the ovary. The edible part is not the ovary. Instead, the edible part is going to be formed by the thalamus. The best example is the apple. In the apple, you can see that what the part we do eat, that is not the ovary, that is a thalamus. Okay, the structure which I have drawn at the bottom of the ovary, that is the thalamus. From that thalamus, the edible part will form. What about the ovary? Where does the ovary is present? Yes, if you just cut open the apple, there the layer around the seed you can observe. No, that is what the ovary. Inside the ovary, the seeds will present. That is a ovule. Okay, understand, this kind of fruits are called as a false fruits. And among the true or false fruits, most of the fruits are the true fruits. Most of the fruits, what do we eat? Those are the true fruits. Okay, only few are a false fruits like a apple, strawberry, cashew, etc. Okay, any doubts here? Is that clear how the fruit will form? If it is clear, click on yes. Or if you want me to explain again, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay, everyone is clicking on yes. This is a simple, very simple topics what we are discussing in today's class. You can easily listen, relax, and understand the class. But don't relax or don't compromising in reacting to the teacher. Okay, because you should always react with the teacher. I mean, interact with the teacher. That is very important, right? And okay, this is all about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So far what we have seen, what is the structure of a flower, and pre-fertilization events, which means how the male and female gametes are formed, what are the structure of male and female reproductive systems. That is all comes under the pre-fertilization event. After that, we have seen that how actual fertilization will take place, right? We have seen that how actual fertilization will take place. After the after the actual fertilization, what is going to happen? Yes, post-fertilization events takes place, which means embryo will form, embryo sac will form, sorry, endosperm will form, embryo will form, seed, fruit will form. This is all about the fertilization and how the things will happen in the fertilization. But in some cases, without fertilization, the seed and fruit will form. Okay, tell me, if the fruit forms without a fertilization, what do we call that? If the fruit form without a fertilization, what do we call that? Yes, very good. Sanket and Om. We are going to call that as a parthenocarpic fruit. Right. So do parthenocarpic fruits have a seeds? Tell me, do parthenocarpic fruits have seeds? Dhanama is correct. No. Parthenocarpic fruits, where the fruit are going to be formed without fertilization, those are called parthenocarpic fruit. Yes, as there is no fertilization, seeds will not form at all. Okay. And there is another thing, apomixis and polyembryony, which means the seeds will form without fertilization here. Apomixis means when the seeds form without fertilization, that process is called apomixis. How the seeds will form? Right. See, if this is a, yes. See, if this is an ovule, here nucellar tissue will be present or nucellus will be present, right? So, one cell of the nucellus will be developed. One cell of the nucellus usually will develop as a megaspore mother cell, right? But during a apomixis, which is a asexual reproduction, okay, during a apomixis, what happens? The one cell of the nucellar tissue that will get modify and develop as an embryo directly without fertilization. One of the cells of one of the nucellar cells that will directly develop as embryo, which means, and after the formation of embryo, obviously the integuments will get convert as a seed coat and finally will get a seed. So now at this condition, without fertilization, we have got the seed. This process is called as apomixis. The best examples are some of the species of Asteraceae and some grasses. Some grasses will also produce the seeds without a fertilization. Embryo will form. Embryo will form without fertilization because the nucellar cell which develops as an embryo directly. Okay. See, it is a process or it is a form of asexual reproduction, but that mimics the sexual reproduction, because in the sexual reproduction also, the sexual reproduction takes place in the plants. What happens? Fertilization will take place. After the fertilization, embryo will form. In the same way, here in the apomixis, even there is no fertilization, the embryo will form. That is why the apomixis is a form of asexual reproduction that mimics the sexual reproduction. Okay. And what is a polyembryony then? Let me write. Polyembryony. What is the polyembryony then? Which means in the apomixis, I told you, without fertilization, the nucellar cell will get convert as an embryo, and without fertilization only the seed will form. Right. So what happens in the polyembryony? This is one of the conditions you can see in the plants. Okay. Many cells of nucellar tissue, many cells of nucellar tissue get convert as embryo. So whereas in apomixis, that is a process where either one or many, if the cell of the nucellar tissue get convert as an embryo, that is a apomixis. Okay, if many cells they convert as the embryo, then that is what called a polyembryony, because if there are many cells means many embryos. Polyembryony, many embryos will form from the nucellar tissues. Okay, the best example you can see for the polyembryony is a citrus fruit. Right. Just take a citrus fruit, lemon or orange, then take a seed from the orange, okay, orange fruit, and just squeeze that. Just squeeze the seed and you can see many embryos will come out from the seed. Have you ever tried that? Yes or no in the chat box? Have you ever tried that? Yes. Have you seen that? Okay, just if you get a orange or anything, any citrus fruit, just take a seed and squeeze that, because the complete embryo sac, sorry, the complete ovule that will get convert as a seed, and then here the many cells which get convert as a embryo, and finally one seed contains the many embryo. Okay, give me a 2 minutes. Oh, sorry for the delay. Okay, this is all about polyembryony and the apomixis. Apomixis, where without fertilization, seed will form, because one of the nucellular cells develop as an embryo without fertilization. If more nucellular cells develop as a embryo, that is what called polyembryony. Do you understand this? Click on yes if you understand. Click on yes if you understand. Okay. I'm clicking now. Very good. What is the use of apomixis and polyembryony, or especially the apomixis? Because see, we know that do you have any idea about hybrid seeds? Yes, do you guys have any idea about hybrid seeds? Yes. Okay. Usually the hybrid seeds which are produced by some companies, or yes, which are having a desired characters, no? So there you can observe which hybrid seeds are very costly. Right, hybrid seeds are very costly. Even though they are costly, the farmers will take the hybrid seeds and they'll sow the seeds. After sowing the seeds, they will get a progeny. Progeny means the generation, new generation will come with the desired characters, and will also, after that what happens, the flower produces, and male and female flower will be there. Uh, and if the fertilization takes place, there are chances of taking fertilization with the normal plants, right? There are high chances of taking, for I mean having the fertilization with the other normal plants. Then there is a mixing of characters will take place, right? Characters will get mixed, and finally exact desired characters, we cannot get the desired characters in all the plants, right? But the hybrid seeds are very costly, so that instead of fertilization, what we can do, if we just take a seed, I mean hybrid seed, if we just produce a hybrid seed, then instead of fertilization, we have to apomictic that seed. Or what do you mean by that? If we just sow the seed and the plants will grow and flowers will produce, then instead of fertilization, we need to initiate the flower for the apomixis, which means the same plant produces the seed without fertilization, which means the same characters or desired characters will not get mixed up, right? So by that, the farmers can get the seeds, or the exact hybrid seeds or exact copy of the hybrid seeds, the farmers can get again. So this reduces the burden in the farmers, right? This is what the importance of apomixis in a hybrid seeds. Let me read. If the seeds from hybrids are sown, the plants in the progeny will segregate and lose the hybrid characters, right? So, production of hybrid seeds is costly. Even though the production of hybrid seed is very costly, so hybrid seeds are so expensive, right? If the hybrid seeds are made into apomictic, which means if they are able to produce asexually, there is no segregation of characters in the hybrid progeny, so farmers can keep on using the hybrid seeds to raise a new crop without investing the more money on the hybrid seeds, right? This is what the use of apomixes in the plants. Understand this apomixis and polyembryony and the uses or importance of apomixis in a hybrid seed. So the question comes here: when a fern plant, sorry, yes, when a fern plant is developed from its prothallus without fertilization, this phenomenon is an example of parthenocarpy, apogamy, apospory, organogenesis. What do you think? Which is the correct answer? No, Kiran. That is a fruit. If the fruit produces, then we'll call that. Oh, no. Ananya, no. Danama, no. Harsh, no. We'll see how many people will give the correct answer. So again, I should give you a 2 minutes. Okay, take 2 minutes and write the answer proper answer. Yes, Harsh, correct. Yes, Sanket, correct. No, Bhumika. Danamma, yes, now you're correct. Ananya, no. Anita, yes. Veerabhadra, no. Gauri, correct. Okay, I'm ending the poll. Oh, and the results are like this. 41% of the people have chosen option A, 35% of the people have chosen option B, 18% of the people have chosen option C, and 6% of the people have chosen option D. Stop sharing. And the correct answer is apogamy. When the fern plant is developed from its own prothallus without fertilization, or if the plant produces without fertilization, that anything, if the plant produces without fertilization, that is called as apogamy. Okay. And the next question: which of the following will lose its economic value if fruits are produced through parthenocarpy? Citrus, banana, grape, pomegranate. Answer in the poll. Akshata, correct. No, Danamma, no, Harsh, no, Ananya. Oh, only 33% of the people have given the correct answer. Yes. Oh, Sanket correct. Harsh correct. Anita, yes. Gauri, yes, correct. Okay. I'm ending the poll and the results are like this. 29% of the people have choose option A, 29 option B, nobody choose option C, and 43% of the people have choose option D. C, we know during a parthenocarpy, the seeds will not form. I mean, seedless fruits will form, right? So, if the citrus fruits are seedless fruits, is there any loss in the economic value? If this lemon does not contain a seeds, is there any economic value? No, that is even easy for us to handle the citrus fruit, right? What about the banana? The banana doesn't have seeds, that is great. Even the grapes, if the grapes does not have a seed, no difference, right? We can easily have, even though if banana doesn't have the seeds, then we can very easily eat the fruit. But pomegranate, what the thing we eat in the pomegranate, that is actually seed. If we make a parthenocarpic fruit in a pomegranate, then how does it look like? It looks like a tennis ball. If we just cut the tennis ball, nothing will be inside. The same thing happen if we do the parthenocarpy for the pomegranate. All the seeds will go off. If we just cut open the pomegranate, nothing will be inside. It's empty, purely empty, right? So, yes, that is why having knowledge is not important. All the time, having knowledge is not important. Where to use that? That is what important. Right? If we use the, yes, we have a knowledge on parthenocarpy, but if we use that on a pomegranate, that is absolutely foolishness, right? Because that is why having knowledge is not more, yes, that is important, but where we are using that knowledge, that is ultimately important. Okay, so the correct option is pomegranate. Now, the last topic is a artificial hybridization. Okay, listen, this is very easy topic. You need to just have a concentration. See, in the artificial hybridization, people always involve in a, I mean, this is done by manually. Mostly this is done by manually. What the people will do, they will always wanted desired characters in a seed. That is why what are all the steps they involve in an artificial hybridization is that first they will select a two plants, one as a male plant and another one as a female plant. Okay, which should contain the desired characters. The male and female plants should contain desired characters. After that, what they will do? After that, they will take a female plant. If the female plant is a unisexual, which means a pistillate flower, okay, which means that is having only a female reproductive organ, that is fine. But if the female plant, what we have selected the plant as a female plant, if that is having bisexual flower, if that is having bisexual flower, what do we need to do? We need to remove the male reproductive part. Okay, because we are considering the plant as a female plant for the artificial hybridization, that is why we are going to remove the male reproductive part. Okay, if we remove the male reproductive part, so that we can control the self-pollination, because we require a cross-pollination, right? So now we are going to remove the male reproductive part, that is called as emasculation. So that is called as emasculation. Okay. So after emasculation, now the flower is containing only a female reproductive part. Now, to avoid the pollination, whether by either by air or by the insects, to avoid pollination, because we have already desired male plant, from that only we need to bring the pollen grains. That is why after emasculation, we are going to bag we are going to cover the flower. The female flower, which is having only a female reproductive part, now we are going to bag that flower with the cover, right? So that if any of the pollen grain which are on the air, they cannot affect the female part. After that, what they will do, they'll collect the pollen grain with the brush. Okay, we have the male plant which is having a desired pollen grains. Okay, now we are going to collect the pollen grains with the help of a brush, and then we'll take that brush to the female flower, and then we'll remove the bag and we'll dust the pollen grain on the female flower. We are going to dust the pollen grains on the female flower, and then we will rebag that. We'll use the same bag and we'll cover the flower, so that fertilization without any interruption will take place. After the fertilization, the seeds will form, and we are going to test the seeds, whether the seeds are hybrid one or not. This is what artificial hybridization, how the hybrid seeds are produced in this manner. First, we are going to choose the male and female desired plants. After that, emasculation will be done. Okay, emasculation means what? Removal of male reproductive part. Removal of male reproductive part. Okay, so what are all the steps involved in the male reproductive part is, one, we can do this manually. Okay, so we can do this manually. You can observe in the images. We can take a forceps and we can just pluck the anther and filament. Right, that is what we are doing the emasculation manually, or by using the suction pump. Suction pump also can be used for the very small flowers. In a small flowers, we cannot identify or we cannot exactly locate the male reproductive part in very small flowers. Now, at that time, what we will do, the people will just introduce a pipe into the flower. That is exactly how it works. It works like a vacuum cleaner, which absorbs all the dust. No, in the same way, the suction pump which we introduce into the flower, then that suction pump will hold the male reproductive part and that will plug the male reproductive part. That can also be done. And in the large flowers, use of hot ethanol. Hot ethanol, which means if this is a flower, right, and here there is a female reproductive part, and all the male reproductive parts which are larger than the female reproductive part. So then now we can do, instead of plucking or instead of doing this manually, we are going to dip. I mean, if the flower is like this, we are going to bend the flower a bit, and then we will dip the flower. We are, after bending, we are going to dip the flower till here. Till here, we are going to dip that in a hot ethanol. Then all the pollen grains will die. Okay, this is what the emasculation. This is how emasculation will be done. This takes place in a bisexual flowers. In a bisexual flower, because in the bisexual flower only we need only a female reproductive part. That's why we are removing the male reproductive part. If the flower is a pistillate, yes, in pistillate flower, emasculation is not necessary. Emasculation is not necessary. Why? Can anyone tell me why it is not necessary? Tell me why the emasculation is not necessary in a pistillate flower. Yes, as there is no stamen. Very good. As there is no stamen, emasculation is not required. So now the flower is having only a female reproductive part, and then we need to cover the flower. Cover with bag. To avoid what? To avoid the other pollinating agents or to avoid the pollination. After that, what do we do? I mean, after that, what do we need to do actually is that after a bagging, oh, let me take other color. Yes. Third one is that after bagging, we need to collecting the desired pollen grains. Collecting the desired pollen grains. Okay. And from a male plant. After collecting the desired pollen grains from the male plant, dusting the pollen grains. Dusting the desired pollen grains on stigma. And then we are going to rebag it, which means again we are going to bagging that. That is called as a rebagging. Rebagging. Okay. And then the plant itself will take care of the remaining things like fertilization and seed formation. Fertilization and seed formation. After the seed formation, we will collect the seed and we will test the seed, whether the seed is having all the desired characters or not. Right? That is what? Testing the seeds. This is all the artificial hybridization, which means first we will select the plants, desired male and female plants, and emasculation has done and bagging. And after the bagging of the female flower, we are going to collect the pollen grains from the male flower and we are going to dust the pollen grains on the female flower and then rebag it, and fertilization and seed formation will be takes place by the plant itself, and then we have to test the seeds. This is all the artificial hybridization. So any doubts in the artificial hybridization? If it is clear, click on yes. If it is clear, click on yes. Or if you have any doubts, ask me in the chat box. Okay, very good. Unclick now. You can unclick now. Yes, here is a question. For artificial hybridization experiment in a bisexual flower, which of the sequence is correct? Bagging, emasculation, cross-pollination, rebagging. Emasculation, bagging, cross-pollination, rebagging. Cross-pollination, bagging, emasculation, rebagging, and self-pollination, bagging, emasculation, rebagging. Okay. Yes, in the chat box, everyone gave the correct answer. Let us see. Let us hope the 100% answers in the chat poll. Yes, yes, correct. Okay, come on, quickly answer in the chat poll. You have only 30 seconds too. I am going to end the poll to 30 seconds because last questions are a bit tough. That's why I gave you a time. Now you have got only 1 minute. Yes. Okay. The results are like this. Nobody have chosen option A. 73% of the people have chosen option B. 20% of the people have chosen option C, and 7% of the people have chosen option D. Okay, so I have already told you the process is that after selecting, we need to go for emasculation and bagging, and then cross pollination by manually and rebagging. This is what the actual process. Yes, this completes the actual, the complete chapter of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. And from tomorrow, the sir will continue with the, sir will start actually, and I'll be continuing from Monday, the human reproduction. Okay. So yes, as the chapter completes today, you guys are having test on Sunday on the sexual reproduction of flowering plants. Okay. So do you guys got any doubts here? If you have any doubts, just ask me. Otherwise, answer in the NPS. No doubts? Okay, is everything is clear in this chapter? Or do you guys have any doubts? Is everything clear in this chapter? What we have studied so far? Yes, very good. So if you have any doubts, ask me. Otherwise, you can leave for the day. Thank you. Thank you, Dhanana. Thank you, Vinashri. Yes, Veerabhadra, the work is going on that. No issue. Everything will be settled down in 2 to 3 days. Okay. Most probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you may get. Or by Monday. By Monday, everything will be sorted out. We'll add the links also in the group description so that you will get YouTube links. Okay. Okay. Yes, I'm ending the class. Thank you. Bye bye.